Hey everyone, welcome back. I am decluttering all of my productivity tools. I was inspired to film this video from two videos, At Home with Kita's Deep Clean Your Productivity Systems, as well as Rachel and Theories that she did last year. So I am taking this task onto my plate and going through all my productivity tools that I use and taking out what I don't need anymore and going back to the simple things that work. So let's dive in. I am in my simplification era and I want to walk through what I have for my productivity tools and find ways where I could consolidate, minimize, get rid of, whatever it may be, so I could be focused this summer. It is April of 2025, and this summer I have big goals of writing more, getting all my things so I could publish this coming fall. And with that, I need to stop going from different productivity tools and just keeping everything simple. So what I am doing right now is going to pull up a blank piece of paper and we are going to walk through. Okay, can't really see it, so we're gonna have it on here to make it a little better. Okay, from what I gathered from the previous videos is there are, I would say, several different categories that house productivity. So you have your capture tool, and this is where you write down things to get it out of your head and putting it on a paper or digital, whatever it may be. And this is one of David Allen's from Getting Things Done things, is he really wants to make sure you have a capture tool. Number two is you have some type of task manager. And this is going to be from your captures. What do you need to get done, right? That is the whole kind of sense. You also have a third thing, which is your calendar, where you schedule all of your tasks, your appointments, events, whatever it may be, getting it on a calendar for a specific day on a specific week, month, however it may be. And then the fourth one that is kind of in all the productivity gurus is a note section. So this would be like housing a second brain or reference material, anything like that is you need to have some type of notes. So there are four different, I would say, productivity categories. And we're going to walk through what I have for each of them and where are ways that I could remove, consolidate. And I hope you do this exercise as well along with me or on a different time. But I think it's really foundational so you can move forward and tackle your goals. That is what we're all here about, is to be more productive, manage your time, and of course, get more books published. That is why we're all here, is we want to be a author, whether it's full-time, part-time. And in order to do that, we need to focus. And so hopefully working on these four different categories, I'll be able to do that, and so can you. Okay, starting on capture. What I'm going to do is list out all the things that I use to capture. So we have my planner. In my planner, I do have this inbox, right? So I can list down things to get it on. I also have on my like planning pages, I have a notes section to capture, don't get confused with the name of this notes. It is different. Notes would be to capture, right? I was like, start thinking about May, social media strategy, objective with the goal, frequency, content. That is capturing notes. So we're going to start off with, I have my planner. Where else do I capture notes? I do sticky notes. I love sticky notes. You should see me at work. I have them all over my desk. It is crazy. And for this, I am only focusing on my personal as well as my author, writing, business, social media, all that stuff. I am not doing this for my day job because that adds a whole other complexity, especially when it comes to like task and calendar, because I only could use their system. So we're not getting that. We're sticking to my writing and my personal stuff. I also have my phone. And within my phone, there are a few things. So I could put notes in Amazing Marvin. There is an inbox section. Then I also use, sometimes I just use the calendar function to make notes as like reminders. So that's kind of like a capture tool. So I'm going to just put it as my Google Cal. There's other things that I have used in the past. So I'm going to put these as well, just because I have used them, which would be Notion. I have OneNote, and that's not with an S. And then there are random notebooks. Like I have random notebooks. I just put little notes here and there, and we'll talk about when I go through everything, but this is just getting out all the things I use out on paper. Okay, so now we're moving on to my task manager. I, of course, use my planner. I use my phone. For both, I use Amazing Marvin and my Google Cal. Anything else I use for tasks? I've used Notion in the past, so we are going to put that. And then I've also done sticky notes. And I do have task and random notebooks. Let me tell you, this is very eye-opening. I'm like, what am I doing? And then we have our calendar. We have the planner, right? There is a weekly, monthly, and I've done daily planners. And then we have the phone, which is Amazing Marvin it syncs up with my Google Cal. So that kind of, they go together. So that's it. And then for notes, we have the planner. We have sticky notes. What else? We got all the kind of digital notebooks. So I have notes in Notion, OneNote. I've used Joplin. That's one I'm currently using, but now I think I'm switching over to OneNote. And then I have random notebooks. I have a course notebook. I have a reading like craft book notebook. So I have way too many notebooks, so I need to go in and go through all of them. Okay, and I think that is pretty much it for my 4 things and the, I guess, resource tools that I use. So as I'm thinking of what I want to use for my capture, we need to think about the two things that I need to capture. We have personal, and then we will have author. So I might have different things that I need to capture on a personal level versus an author level at different things. So we're going to take two different colors. Personal, we're doing this orangey yellow. And for author, we're going to do purple. So on a personal, I use the planner. And I have author. And I feel like I'm just going to keep on doing both of these. So, when I'm thinking of a planner, do I want to use it as a capture tool versus a task, calendar, note? And, right, your whole purpose for capture is to get it out of your head and to get it down to then file it in its proper house. So, as I'm thinking, it doesn't make sense to have your planner as a capture because then you're going to have to do double, I would say, the amount of work, right? And let's kind of go here. Let's take a look at this. It might make it a little more clear. So this is the getting things done, right? You start with your input, all your stuff. You got your inbox. Then you need to either process it or you don't do anything. And then it has the different things if it's an action or if it's going to be like a project, which is multiple steps. And in this right here, you do the clarify, which is once you've captured it, then you got to determine what you need to do. And here, this was back in January. So I wanted to list out all the craft books to read. So I am taking time out of my day to write this out and then be like, okay, now I have this here, I'm going to have to make a task for this item because it is something that I'm going to need to do. Same with January social media content. I need to make a project that has different tasks for preparing my social media content. It doesn't make sense to put it in here when it might not be housed here, like, indefinitely, I guess. So, I think it's too redundant. I don't actually need to use my planner to capture. And I don't take my planner with me everywhere. And that is where I think this is going to be the main thing. Sticky notes, same thing. They're not permanent. They're easy to get misplaced. And I don't think it's worth doing. My phone now. Do I need to do my inbox with Maze and Marvin? Yes, I think that makes sense. It doesn't make sense to do it in Google Calc. So let me pull up Maze and Marvin and show you what an inbox looks like. It is kind of dark, so you probably can't see it. But if I go here, this is like the home thing, or I push the plus thing. This takes me, it's hashtag inbox. Then it says enter task title. So I could go in here and say, capture, right? And so I have it written, and this is a way to just get the thoughts out and put them in here. So I think having this for both personal as well as writing, I think it makes sense. So we're going to keep that one. Notion. I don't think it's really kind of relevant. Notion is more of a database, you could put captures in it, but I think it's more geared towards in the note section or the task versus a capture tool. So we're going to cross that out. Same with OneNote. OneNote, it's in the name. It's a note-taking app. Random notebooks. This I need to work on. I need to stop putting random things in random spots. So we're getting rid of that. So that leaves us, Amazing Marvin is going to be my capture tool for any idea, any anything that pops into my mind, any tasks I need to work on, a reminder, don't forget this, just put it in here. I could put a time, a deadline to process. And that is something to put into my routine, a daily like inbox clearing. So I think this will actually work. So we have figured that out. In my phone, we are using the capture tool, the inbox segment from Amazing Marvin. Now moving on to task. Task is where it gets, I guess, a little kind of complicated because, right, there's two different portions, the personal and the author. But let's actually start at this bottom here. Random notes. Or notebooks. We need to take out all the random notebooks that aren't specific because they are getting messy. It is hard to keep track of what goes in what. Same thing with sticky notes. Stop putting to-do lists on sticky notes. Put them in a specific location. Notion. I currently don't use Notion, so I need to go through my whole Notion and get rid of all the irrelevant things. Same thing with, Google Calendar. It syncs up with Amazing Marvin, so they kind of go hand in hand, but if I need to make a task, I need to make it in Amazing Marvin, not Google Calendar. So, and then it comes to the planner. In my planner, right, I have personal task, work task. Then we have, right, your weekly. I could put task here. And then there's even, right, to do daily pages. So I could do that as well. And we're right here. We're filming YouTube, working on it. So we are going to keep that as well. But with that, this is where it gets a little funky. Do I need to have my personal task in the planner? I would say no. My personal stuff are pretty streamlined, right? Cleaning. I don't need to be clean the toilet, clean the shower. I've done that in the past, but do I really need to write all that stuff down? No, we could just do a bold time block that says chores, and using my reference material, I can see what I have to do, and I don't have to write everything down. I'm spending too much time writing things over and over, and we are trying to streamline, and with that, it means getting rid of repeating tasks. So, my planner will only house author-related tasks, like I have here, right? I need to revise on Cork and Love, Chapter 8 and Chapter 9. Newsletter, I need to do that. Substacks, I need to do that, which I did not do that, but I needed to, right? We're going to keep it that way. So we are simplifying here. Moving on to calendar. It is by far the easiest. Here we have the planner and Amazing Marvin / Google. We are keeping both. So we're going to have both for that. And for the planner is for sure we're doing the author, but it could also include personal, right? I've kind of simplified this week and only focused on weekly planning for my authors. But if you go over in my yearly planner, right, my calendar, this is where things happen, right? And now I know where I have different appointments and stuff, so having the calendar is still important in that aspect. Now, I'd say one of the hardest sections that needs the most work is notes. I have reference notes in my planner. I sometimes have sticky notes, which for sure need to disappear. We have our random notebooks, which that's just how it is, right? I have my my books, notes from like craft books and stuff like that. Then I have my not workshops. What's it thing? My courses notes for like author stuff, right? They are two separate notebooks, and they are physical, right? Would it make sense to have it digital, which then flows into Notion, OneNote, Joplin, there's Obsidian, so there's so many other platforms. And I think having it be digital has merit, as I could search items. But with that, I do love the physical, writing out my notes while I'm reading a book or as I am listening to a course. So between these, we're going to keep them, as these are reference materials. And that kind of flows into the planner for my personal, as I have notes for my personal on chores and fitness routines. I have notes for there. So I think that's how I'm going to do it is we're going to have a physical I'm going to keep my book notes as well my course notes, because right now I already have them in things. But once those notebooks, or as I finish a book, I need to digitalize that. Now, which platform is a whole other discussion, and I am still investigating which platform, but based on the functionality, Joplin's kind of a little too limiting for me. I want a little more maneuvering that I could do. And OneNote, I'm used to it because I use it at work. But since I don't have Word or anything like that on my personal stuff, I use all Google, or I use like Scrivener or something like that. I don't think it's worth it to moving anything over to OneNote, and we're going back to Notion for my second brain. So, I think that kind of covers everything. It is a lot to take in, and I'm still kind of figuring it out, but I'm going to lay it on the reverse side a little cleaner. So starting off with capture. This is to get ideas out of my head and onto, in quotes, paper, right? Because we're not actually using paper, we are using Amazing Marvin Inbox. Which I think is actually now just called Marvin, but that's okay. Capture. The next thing is we have our task manager. this is the to-dos, right? What I need to do, whether it's weekly, daily, monthly. And with that, we are going to have my planner and Amazing Marvin for my author-related stuff. And we are just going to do Amazing Marvin for my personal. Okay. Moving on to calendar. This is to schedule, essentially, the to-dos. And with this, we have the planner and Marvin and planner and Marvin, right? I could plan my vacation / I guess this one has Google Cal because they sync up. Because I'm using the planner aspect because I need to know when I'm going on vacation or when I have an appointment and I can't work on, this particular thing for my author because I am busy. Things like that. That's why I have to use them kind of both in this section. Same with when it comes to like my meal plan is, right, I have a meal planner. This is a calendar, so I use it for that as well. So I guess they're more high-level calendars when it comes to personal and the planner. Then we have the notes. And this is to house references. It's our archive, our second brain. This could be any capture information, right? From here, it could go into the notes section, or it could go into just their location. So we have, how do we do it? We had the personal, which is going to be the notes or the planner. And then we have two parts is we have notebooks. This is physical. And then we do have a digital. And this is Notion, which flows after completion. So let me pull out my notebook so I could show you what I'm talking about. Here is one of my notebooks. And it clearly says notes, so it is perfect. This is from different courses I've gone through, different books I'm reading, right? This was a TikTok on social media marketing, different digital marketing foundations, keywords and categories. So these are different workshops and books that I have gone through. And I've left blanks because I don't think I've finished reading this book, which is Self-Editing for Fiction Writers. So I've started it, haven't finished it, so that's why there's blank pages. Like Amazon ads to sell more books. So all of this, like the ones that are complete, like this one, Amazon ads for authors, I need to go through this and digitalize it, because then I can search, okay, what should be my first 5 campaigns? And lo and behold, it says, here are my first 5 campaigns, right? So that is one of my notebooks. And then I have another one for other courses and stuff. But there we have it. We have gone over what I'm using for my capture, my task manager, my calendar, and my notes. It's a lot happening, but I'm feeling really good about it. And we will go from there. I hope you liked this video. Make sure you subscribe if you want to see more productivity content, what it's like being a part-time author, as well as plotting and planner videos to help you on your writing journey.